Okay, so I am Dr. Ikra Ali, and I'll be presenting visual outcome of combined intravitreal bevacizumab and triamcinolone acetate in persistent diabetic macular edema. Diabetic macular edema is the most common cause of visual loss in those with diabetic retinopathy and is increasing in prevalence globally. The prevalence of diabetic macular edema with diabetic retinopathy is 2.7 to 11%, and it depends upon the type of diabetes and duration of disease. But for both type 1 and type 2, after 25 years duration, it approximates 30%. Aims and objectives of our studies to evaluate the visual outcome of combined intravitreal bevacizumab and triamcinolone acetate in persistent diabetic macular edema in terms of change in BCVA, to evaluate the mean change in central macular thickness as measured by OCT, and to study the frequency and severity of ocular side effects of intravitreal triamcinolone acetate and bevacizumab. Material and methods: it's a prospective and observational study of patients with persistent diabetic macular edema after 3 or more doses of intravitreal bevacizumab. 100 eyes of 94 patients were included in the study. Inclusion criteria were in age more than 18 years, clinically and OCT supported persistent diabetic macular edema who had received 3 or more intravitreal bevacizumab injections, no prior intravitreal injection within 6 weeks, no prior ocular laser of any sort within 3 months of injection. Exclusion criteria were patient with history of glaucoma, uveitis, patients on drugs that can be associated with the risk of developing macular edema, such as glutazones, prostaglandin analogs, etc. Pre-injection clinical variables include best corrected visual acuity, SLFM examination, dilated fundus examination, intraocular pressure, and central macular thickness as measured by HD OCT. Before the injection, all the risks and benefits were explained to the patient, and written informed consents were obtained. Follow-up was done at 1 week, 1, 3, and 6 months. Clinical endpoints included BCVA, intraocular pressure, and central macular thickness as measured by Zeiss Cirrus HD OCT. Mean was used for description of quantitative data and percentage for qualitative data. Univariate analysis such as chi-square test and Fisher's exact test was used to compare the qualitative data. Appropriate statistical tests like t-test, z-test, and ANOVA were used. Analysis was carried using SPSS software. A p-value of less than 0.05 was taken as statistically significant. So these are the results of our study. The mean age was 58.3. 67% of the patients were male and 27% were female. 52% of the patients had HbA1c less than 7. 48% of patients had HbA1c greater or equal to 7. 50% of patients were on combined oral hypoglycemics and insulin. Most of the patients had moderate diabetic retinopathy, followed by severe, very severe, low-risk PDR, high-risk PDR. 78% of the patients had spongy macular edema and 28 had cystoid macular edema. 47% of the patients in our study were pseudophakic, 41% had clear lens, 10% were having NS1 to 2, and 2 had PSC. There was a statistically significant difference in the visual acuity at baseline, 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months, respectively. There was also a significant improvement in CMT during the follow-up period. This is a line chart of visual acuity at baseline and then at 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. This is a line chart showing central macular thickness at baseline and significantly improving at 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. This is a line chart showing intraocular pressure from baseline to 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. HbA1c correlation was also done with BCVA and CMT, and it was found that patients who had HbA1c less than 7 had better improvement in vision, and CMT decreased significantly than in patients who had HbA1c greater than 7. Complications: 42% of the patients had uneventful injections, 36% developed irritation, mild pain, 20% developed subconjunctival.
To conclude, I'm really sorry for this.
Okay, so I'll conclude.
You can just give the conclusion, ma'am.
Okay, so the outcome of our study revealed that combined intravitreal triamcinolone acetate and bevacizumab was safe and effective in persistent diabetic macular edema. It improved anatomic and functional outcomes in patients with persistent diabetic macular edema. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation.